How you doing? My name's Anthony, and I'm going to show you how money and technology such as this phone and this computer change society. So I did my topic this semester on Americans, children, and how they grow up too fast. So personally, I'm concerned about the character and crime rate that American children are getting into in today's society. I will try to persuade you and all of you to listen and possibly maybe come off and try and do some of the solutions I'm giving you. So first off is that the children personally grow up too late. So girls care way too much about appearance and their sexuality, and men, they have more of a macho behavior and learn it way too young. And then BBC actually did a report and said that the children's age for the being adults now are around 12. So a lot like middle schoolers, they're turning into adults way too easily. First off is crime, and I have a quote here from K.S. Heimowitz from the Manhattan Institute, and she said, although children represent a minority of juvenile arrest, their numbers grown disproportionately within the past 20 years. And the question I want to ask you is, why? And that's going back to the technology, such as these phones, these computers, and also a lot of money. So with today's society, parents have way too much money, and they're giving to their kids, and they don't know what's going on with it. So that goes into the crime aspect. And from a personal experience, technology does relate to crime in many ways, because there's a bunch of kids nowadays getting in trouble for things such as vaping, smoking, doing stuff at school that's been going on through our whole entire lifetime, but now it's more prevalent in today's culture just because there's phones, video cameras, social media where you can post all that stuff at. Also, it leads to a life filled with crime. I mean, you may get in a little bit of trouble at school, maybe suspension, maybe some detentions, but those do a toll on you and also lead you down a slippery slope to more crime in the future. And if you do get in trouble by smoking or having explicit pictures on your phone, maybe as a middle schooler, those go with you your whole entire life. And also, drugs is a main thing in today's society, especially with younger kids, teens in particular. It's popularized by the media. There are celebrities that do it, musicians that do it. It's even in our own music. I can play you clippets from Migos or Drake or anything, and they all have something relating to drugs, sex, or some other type of crime. And then up next is their character. It's their attitude that they betray towards other people and what they portray to their surroundings. So, especially tweens nowadays, they're more sexual, and also that relates to computers, phones, and also social media. In 1988, there was 11% of girls, a part of the tweens group, that confessed to having sexual behavior or doing something sexual to begin with. And then done in 1995, 7 years later, it bumped up 8% to 19 people, 19% of girls in this tweens category. And then I found oddly the same, that boys in that tweens category stayed at 21% all the way through those years. So that's something to look into. I'm not sure why men or little boys are constantly the same. Going based off that, I'm not sure why the boys are constantly stayed the same, but one reason why girls could possibly influence to get bigger was because media. So just like social media, like before, it's a lot easier to publicize things and get to it a lot quicker. The clothing for tween and younger girls are oriented with short skirts, string bikinis, midriffs, and all those more skin clothes. They show more skin, and then just like celebrities in the media, they portray that to the younger children, and they start wearing stuff at a lot younger age than what, say, our parents or grandparents would have worn. And then constantly, all these kids are dealing with hardships. It's easy to get inside kind of a clique and start wearing what other people are wearing. It's easier to just fit in with the public, use these celebrities, And going based off a character, there's a lot of, it's easier to fit in. That's how to put it. And I can show you some examples on the computer right here about some certain things that are a lot different. So the life of American child, this goes with all children in particular, then growing up too fast. So the first things first is swimwear, especially with women. It changed tragically. As you can see here in the picture, there's a lot of closure in those older styled swimsuits, which would be another thing that our grandparents or parents would wear. And also what tweens are getting into wearing are these bikinis like up here, where that's something that our grandparents or parents would never wear at their time. And then as you can see here is another picture of something our older parents or grandparents would wear. And going off technology, that's one thing that changed tragically inside the past couple decades. So right here is one of our newer technologies. We have an iPhone X. As you can see, it's a lot slimmer, a lot more better picture. There's a big screen on it where you can watch stuff on and access things a lot quicker. Compared to what you can see here is an old telephone. It's just a big brick, a lot bigger. You have to remember all the names. There's nothing inside that will help you really, other than just calling and reaching people at a quicker basis than mail or going up to their house and talking to them. And then also with technology, right here you can see a MacBook Pro, and this is one thing that contributes to crime and changing people's character and attitude a lot, because it's an easy way for them to access social media. They can look up videos real easily. It takes 5 clicks of the button to look up some type of pornography or some type of sex. It takes 5 clicks, and I can prove it to you. You just hit PORN on the keyboard, hit enter, and you're there. And that's how easy it is for today's society to reach something where our parents would look down on and be frowned upon. And as you can see here, this is something that's like a dinosaur to us, and we'd never use today just because of how old it is and how out of date the technology is. You'd have to use keystrokes to turn it on and get everything moving. It's just a big hassle that we moved on from. But also with that big hassle, it became a lot of troubles with crime, like I said before. And then some solutions I had on this problem occurring in our society today are a couple things. I have 5 solutions for you. Number 1, age requirements. So that's easy thing that either the law or the government can enforce on the internet, where specifically smoking, pornography sites, and also smoking sites, like I said before. If there was an ID requirement in place where at least you have to be 16 or 18 up to be able to access these sites, it would tragically end that younger kid being able to access that. I mean, no matter how old you are, you can type in those 4 letters and click enter, and it'll come up. You'll be able to access that. And then also with allowance, I believe as my second solution, parents can also give kids a lesser amount of money with their allowance, if any allowance at all. They'd be able to work for their own whenever they turn 15 in our state to be able to work. Then at that point, they'd be able to access anything they wanted. If you have your own job, you're more mature, you're making your own money, and then you can use that to buy things that you'd like. But with parents nowadays, with them just handing out money left and right to their kids and not knowing where it's going, it can easily be going somewhere online, somewhere with drugs, and all that is just more crime that can be dealt with real easily. And then one thing I also mentioned before is regulating the internet. Our government can do this. I'm not sure if the law would be able to do it or help out with it at all, but they can put certain things on words where you can't type it in, and this would create less of a hassle for younger kids being able to access something that's strictly for adults. And my 4th solution is just better parenting in general. I know there are some parents that do and don't do this, is checking kids' social media, their messages, and their calls. It's part of the time it's the parents paying for the phone. They're paying for the phone bill and everything. They have the right to access this information, and they can easily check up on their children and make sure they're doing the right things online. And my last solution is restricting communication with random people. I know that the internet, you can connect with anyone at any point of the day, and I feel like it should be limited to some points in business possibly, because if I had a little kid going on there, one of my nephews or cousins using my computer, they can just go chat with someone online from Mexico, Germany. And then restricting these communication with random people online, it'll also lower the crime rates, and also predators wouldn't be an issue, at least from an online status, because you're not connecting with these random people whenever you're a 12-year-old talking to a 24-year-old or possibly a 70-year-old online. And lastly, I'd just like to restate that I am concerned with the growing population of American children growing up way too fast, and I feel like if we instate some of these solutions, maybe we can refix it to what it actually should be.